So, like about everybody else, you're trying to find a way to up your Instagram stories and make sure they look a little better and set yourself apart, but you don't really have a way to do so, or you're seeing a lot of people doing the same thing. So today I'm going to show you a way you can separate yourself a little bit. What is going on, everybody? My name is Finn Badgley. If you're new around here, I am a commercial fashion and portrait photographer, and today I'm gonna show you a couple ways that you can set your Instagram stories apart so that way you can stand out from the field and get more likes, comments, followers, and all those numbers that we shouldn't care about, but we do. So without further ado, here we are. I just opened Procreate. This is something that I like to use for this kind of thing, as it is fairly simple and easy to use. I've also used it for some illustration stuff that I do, either just for fun or otherwise. So something that I like to do for these kind of Instagram stories and stuff like that is just kind of outline some elements in the photo, and then that way it adds that illustrative effect to it. You can add text and stuff like that over as well, but this is just a simple way that I like to as well. I'm not sponsored by Procreate or anybody for this video. This is just what I like to do and what I use for it, and maybe you can gain some value from that yourself. So right off the bat, I'm gonna make a new layer on this guy. I'm gonna bring the brush right up to white, and I'm gonna go inking. I like the syrup brush that they have loaded in here. Depending on how much I continue doing this kind of thing, I may make my own brushes just to kind of refine everything a little bit. And here we have this boat and this seagull. Seagull is a little blurry, which is pretty neat for this kind of look, I think. But maybe we just want to outline the boat here and then maybe the seagull, and then that way it'll add some visual interest there. So again, we're not going to do anything too crazy. If we want, we can make it more refined, and you might need to try this a couple times. I know a lot of time I definitely need to, so you can zoom in a little bit more if you need to, and then just gonna outline that sucker there. It doesn't need to be quite perfect. If anything, sometimes those rough edges give it a bit more of a look, as it were. And as we go, I have also done this with a lot of other different types of images, which I will put up so that way you can see how it can transfer to different types of images. It doesn't have to just be a landscape or something like this. I've also used it for more commercial portrait fashion images, anything like that, just to add an extra layer of something going on there. And it doesn't need to be perfect, but we don't want that. And can just take the eraser, just erase a little bit of that guy there, because we don't want it really intersecting with the boat like that. So do a little something like that, and then we can come up here to the bird, to our little winged friend here, and we'll just make a new layer. That way there's nice and separated. And we'll come up here and just trace this guy, even though he's a little blurry. And just come up here and give a nice little trace around there. And you can see that just adds an extra little something something in there. If we want to get fancy, we can up the size of the brush a little bit and just go along and paint in some of the waves there, some ripples, just adding that extra layer of something in there. Just makes it a little more interesting, especially when you're scrolling through a bunch of photos. It can just make something stand out a little bit more. Now, with this kind of image, you can see where you would get the idea for this kind of thing, but we can do it with some other ones as well. Do Maybe we'll do this image. It was a little camper van I saw one day. I like the look of it. I think the shot's pretty cool. It's almost that golden hour kind of light. So we'll go ahead, add a layer. This time I'm just gonna make my brush a little smaller. And all I'm gonna do is just outline all around this guy. And the other fun thing too is if you're using Procreate and you want to have that time-lapse feature that they use to record your progress as you go, you can even turn that itself into a story to just add a little extra something there, and that movement will certainly catch people's eye. Now the thing is, if you're doing a quick simple thing like this, when you go up here to the time-lapse replay, you can see it is very quick. So that's where you would want to do more doodling and drawing in there. Maybe we want to add another layer. Come in and let's just go along, draw around the doors, and we'll draw. I'll fix that guy up a little bit. Just like so. We can come around the windows as well. I'm leaving out some of the parts where something in the foreground, something comes in front of an element, just to add that little extra layer of depth, like you were masking out something. Personally, I think I prefer it without the windows highlighted, but you can kind of get a feel for what this can do to some of your images. We have this really nice shot here, nicely backlit, that kind of golden hour light. And for this, we'll just give that same kind of rundown and make it look just a little more stylized for Instagram. And again, all I'm doing is just coming down here and outlining a lot of the elements here. So you can get some stuff along the car door, along the windows, pretty much anything that you feel like you want to outline, just go for it. And again, making sure to have some of those elements almost creating that foreground and background feel. If I wanted to, I can even come here on the jacket and outline these stripes here, and then really give it a bit of a funkier look that might attract a bit more attention, especially when it comes across your feed as you're just scrolling at 3 a.m. or something. If you do that kind of thing, I don't judge. I don't personally. I'm in bed at like 10. I know that may sound crazy, especially for somebody my age, but it's the truth. I party hard till 9 o'clock, and then I am out. And all this does is add a little extra layer of something we all love called visual interest. And you can see it definitely gives a more stylized feel to things. It may not be to everyone's taste, but can give a little extra level of something there, and it gives that kind of illustrated feel, which I personally think is pretty dope. You can see there, if we do something like that and you see that come across your feed, that's going to be something that'll make you pause for at least another second more, and then maybe you'll get a little more engagement out of it or anything like that. It just kind of sets yourself apart. That's really all we're trying to do here, is make ourselves stand out a little bit more, especially with all the noise out there. So with that said, I hope you enjoyed this video. You got some great tips on how you can use Procreate, Photoshop, any kind of app that you can illustrate or paint or anything like that. And it doesn't even have to be this fancy. You could probably get away with Microsoft Paint, but this is just what I like using. So I hope you enjoyed this video and you got some value out of it. Drop a like if you did, leave a comment if you like this kind of thing, if you want to see more of it from me in the future. Subscribe if you haven't already, hit the bell to be notified when I post new videos, and as always, I will see you on the next one.